Yo! Today is May 2nd. We're on pages 10 and 11, and we're talking about the book club. It's day 2 of Loser.
没错，今天我们要继续跟各位介绍这本好书。好，这本好书的英文名字叫 Loser， 但是呢，中文的这个书名呢叫做赢家。
Winner, that's right. Now, winner is W-I-N-N-E-R. Don't forget to add 2 N's. Today, we're going to talk about our author, Jerry Spinelli, who has written a lot of kids' books. I have seen his work many times. I think if you study English in America, you'll probably see one of his books someday.
没错。所以如果说今天呢，如果你看到我们今天这个作者的话，你可以去打一下他的这个名字，你会发现有些书搞不好你看过或听过哦。
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will begin paragraph 1.
Loser. Jerry Spinelli, the author of Loser, has written many children's books, but he did not always long to be a writer. When he was younger, he wanted to be a cowboy or a baseball player. This changed when he was 16. He wrote a poem about his high school football team winning a game. After his poem was published in the local newspaper, he made up his mind to be a writer. His first job after college was as a magazine editor. He wrote stories that were intended for adults in his free time. These novels were all rejected until his 5th try. Space Station 7th Grade was published as a young adult novel and turned out to be a real hit. After that, he started writing more books for children. A lot of the stories are about his own childhood or his children. Many of his books have won awards, including the Newbery Medal, one of the highest awards for children's literature. His books show readers that they can be happy with who they are and make the world a better place.
All right, let's jump right into paragraph 1. Jerry Spinelli, the author of Loser, has written many children's books, but he did not always long to be a writer.
好，我们来看第一段的第一句话咯，他就告诉你说 Jerry Spinelli， 好，就是我们这本书的这个作者 The author of Loser， 好，这个是同位语嘛，对不对？好，就告诉你就是赢家这本书的作者呢 Jerry Spinelli has written many children's books。Children's books 就是指童书的意思，他有写过很多很多的童书 but he did not always want to be a writer， 但是他不是从小就立志想要当作家的哦。
Okay, pick up your highlighter and pick up that pencil. Let's look at the word author. Now, author 这个 OR 发 ER, so make sure 你写一个 ER 在那个 OR 上面。而且 loser 请记得这个 loser O 是长双 O 的 like moon loser 不是 loser and written 特别小心 because this is the present perfect tense 现在完成时这个是 written 短 I 不是 written that's wrong 我知道 write 原形动词有那个长 I 的发音 write 这个是 written 你写下来这个是短 I 的
没有错，这些发音的这种细节跟重点要特别注意一下哦。它这边的话 written 不要忘记，老师特别提到这个是 written。好，而且 T 的话有2个 T。
That's right, not written, written. Now, if you feel this written is difficult, my students sometimes feel 这个短 I 可以比较难说 I tell them to speak deeper, use a deeper voice. Written. 比较深一点 it's usually a little easier. Look at the word long to be. This is a little formal. 蛮正式的英文 Normally, we don't say we long for something. If you long for something, that means you really, really, really want it. Maybe you long for the gentle kiss of your sweetheart. This is something like romantic or something you want really bad.
没错，所以这边的话 long 这个字是很渴望的意思。有的时候老师刚刚一直提到 long for something， 然后我们这边的话 long to do something 的时候，也是指很希望、很渴望能够去做什么事情。
It's a strong word. Our next sentence says, when he was younger, he wanted to be a cowboy or a baseball player. I like that. Want to be a cowboy or a baseball player or an astronaut. I don't know.
听起来很酷，对不对哈？所以他就讲说 ，when he was younger， 他只要年纪比较小的时候呢 ，he wanted to be a cowboy， 要么就当牛仔，或者是 a baseball player， 或是棒球选手，感觉更酷，或者是老师刚刚讲的 astronaut， 太空人也很赞。
Yeah, when my mother and father, 他们的年代, their generation, everyone wanted to be a cowboy. Everyone in my generation, we wanted to be astronauts. You too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. I wonder, what is like a 12-year-old?
12-year-old.
What does the 12-year-old want to be today? It's like cowboy, astronaut. I don't know.
不晓得。
YouTube celebrity. YouTuber. There
Yeah.
we go. YouTuber or gamer, right? All right. This changed when he was 16.
OK， 再来，他就告诉你说 ，this changed， 好，这件事情它的志向呢，好 ，changed when he was 16， 到了16岁的时候呢，这些就改变了。
He wrote a poem about his high school football team winning a game.
好，怎么改变了呢？原来是一件重要的事件哦。He wrote a poem。这个地方老师特别停下来，放慢的讲 poem 就是诗，他写了一首诗。poem 这边的话是可数的名词哦。About his high school football team winning a game。好，在这个诗在讲什么呢？是在他讲他学校里头 high school football team 他的这个足球队。好，这个 football 可能是 American football。
This is American football.
American football 就是那种美式橄榄球队呢赢得比赛的一首诗。
I read this poem. I know this poem. Yeah. So highlight a poem. And 你要注意到 we say a poem. 它是可数的 right? We have a poem, poems. 但是 we also have an uncountable poetry. Poetry is P-O-E-T-R-Y. 这个是不可数的 poetry, a poem.
没错 ，poetry 的话只是诗的那种总称，但如果你要看到一首一首可以数的诗，我们会用这个字 poem。
After his poem was published in the local newspaper, he made up his mind to be a writer.
好，接下来还告诉你说 ，after his poem， 在他的诗呢 was published， 被出版了。In the local newspaper， 哇，居然登在当地的报纸上，变成一首诗，大家都看得到，他一定觉得哇，好有成就感，对不对 ？He made up his mind， 他就下定决心 to be a writer。好，我决定要当作家，当作家很酷，大家都会认得我。
So his high school football team, he was not a football player. He was watching this game, and his team was expected to lose badly. The other team was really good, and people thought,Of course, our school will lose. They are like superstar players. And it was very lucky that Jerry Spinelli's team actually stopped this much better team. And not like because they were so awesome. It's that they stopped this other team many, many, many times.
Oh.
And so it wasn't like, the other team magically could throw the ball better. They could just stop the other team much better. And it was very amazing and people loved it.And it was like a legendary game. And this is what Jerry Spinelli wrote about.
原来如此，所以这场比赛呢，非常非常特别的是，它不是说今天我们的这个球队突然之间很厉害，丢球也特别准，而是他能够挡下对方非常非常多波的攻势，然后最后很传奇性的赢得了比赛，非常非常厉害的，也启发他写了这首诗。
When we think one team will lose and the other team is much, much better.But that doesn't happen. This is called to pull an upset. To pull an upset. We think you will lose, but you win. Pull an upset. We know pull like la, and then upset like 沮丧. So upset. Pull an upset.
没错，在这里的话题有这样的用法，就突然间大反转，输的变，就 the underdog， 就大家不看好的那一队，突然之间就赢了。
Yeah, underdog. That's one word.Okay, with that, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we got our second and final paragraph. Hey everyone, welcome back to Enjoy English School. We're on pages 10 and 11, and we're talking about loser and our author, Jerry Spinelli. how did he become an author? Let's look at paragraph 2. His first job after college was as a magazine editor.
好，我们来看第二段的第一句话哦，还告诉你说 ，His first job after college was as a magazine editor. 好，在这边的话，还告诉你说，他在大学毕业之后的第一份工作呢是杂志编辑。
Yeah, 这个 as just like 当的意思 right? But we won't say was become a magazine editor. That's wrong. Was is your be verb. Become is a verb. 不可以用在一起。So we could say was as a magazine editor. 还是你可以就擦掉 as. It's the same. Was a magazine editor. Anthony, before we worked at Ivy League, before we started working at Enjoy English School, yay! Did you ever work at a magazine?
No.
Really?
Never.
No, like in books publishing?
No.
Nothing?
Never.
Really?
Yeah.
In college? Newspaper?
No.
Really? That's funny. That's rare. You're just like magically here.
Magically here. Yes. Yes.
I worked at my college magazine.
Oh.
And I wanted to be an artist. They said no. And I wanted to write. They said no. But they let me be a photographer.
Okay.
I was not a photographer. I didn't take pictures professionally. But I like to carry my camera around. And 在那个时候你没有那个 like you don't have a digital camera. You have to buy the film, put it in,
That's right.
wind it. This was a long time ago. And they let you print your pictures for free. So I thought this was great because I like to take pictures and I could save money. And they let me become like a photographer, and then I became the photography editor. Assistant photography editor, sorry. And that was really fun. I really liked working at my college magazine.
OK. 好，老师呢刚刚就讲到说呢，他说他在那个求学的过程当中，他有在那个在校刊社，好，他这里头的话去当，他想要说，那我来写文章好不好？人家说不要。好，他被拒绝了非常多的这个职位，最后呢，他当了摄影，好，负责摄影。他本身不是专业的摄影师，但是他喜欢这个带着相机到处东拍西拍。那以前的相机呢是要放那个底片的，不是像现在这种数位的。那他如果那个时候如果说你要买底片，然后你要去拍，还要去印出来，很花钱。可是呢，校刊社呢，他们可以让老师可以就是免费的去列印出来，他觉得这样很棒，又可以省到钱，又可以拍到喜欢的照片。
Yeah, and also you can just try like today with your camera, 就随便了，抽了 OK 删除没关系。In the past, you took that picture, you had to pay for it. So now I can just and I got really good. I had a lot of fun. If you have a magazine or newspaper at your college,Try working at it. It's really fun. I had a good time.
没错，然后最后老师当到那个助理摄影哦，很厉害耶。
Yeah. All right, let's continue. He wrote stories that were intended for adults in his free time.
好，接下来下一句话呢，文章里就讲说 ，He wrote stories that were intended for adults.In his free time， 在这里，如果你注意到 that were intended for， 就是为了什么什么人所写的。他说他会去写一些书，是主要是给成年人看的。那他写书的时间都是在利用他空闲的时间 in his free time.
All right. When we say something is intended for, that usually means my plan is to let adults read this. But sometimes maybe kids will like it too.There are a lot of comic books that maybe are intended for adults. They talk about serious things, but kids like them too because it's a comic book.
没错，没错，很多像老师就提到说，有一些这种漫画书啊，其实是给成年人看的漫画书。本来设定的目标族群是成年人，但小孩也喜欢看，因为是漫画嘛，就他们看得很开心，这样。
These novels were all rejected until his fifth try, Space Station 7th grade.Was published as a young adult novel and turned out to be a real hit.
好，再来我们看下一句话哦。These novels， 这些他写的小说呢 ，were all rejected， 都被人家打回票了。可能他去试着去找出版商啊，出版呢，都被 all rejected， 就是被拒绝的意思。Until his fifth try， 直到了第5次，他写的这一本 Space Station 7th grade， 就是7年级太空站这本书 was published as a young adult novel， 居然变成了青少年读物，非常非常喜欢的这种小说 ，and turn out to be a real hit。这个 hit 的意思就是很热门的，不管是电影啦、书籍啦，都可以说 a hit， 热门书籍、热门电影。turn out to be 的意思就是后来居然变成了畅销力作。
Jerry Spinelli said Space Station 7th Grade is his favorite book that he ever wrote. This is his favorite book.
所以这个作者他曾经提到说，这本7年级太空站是他最喜欢，他写过最喜欢的一部作品了。
Now let's listen to my pronunciation. Ready? These novels were all rejected until his 5th try. 这个 fifth 就是第五 right? We don't say fifth. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 但是这个是第五 we don't say fifth. 这个是 fifth 短 i 垂地逆写下来，这个是短 i 的 fifth.
Fifth. 好，大家特别注意一下，记得老师刚刚提到那个 的声音，你发低沉一点。Fifth.
Really, try it. If 你觉得那个短 i 的发音不正确，你深一点。It's really 真的很好用。A lot of my students, I make them do it. Ready? Fifth. And they can do it pretty good. They don't like to do it though. All right, let's continue to our next sentence. After that, he started writing more books for children.
After that， 在那之后呢 ，he started writing more books for children。他就开始写更多的书，好，是针对这些儿童来写的。
A lot of the stories are about his own childhood or his children.
好，很多这些书的这个内容呢 ，a lot of stories。are about 就是指很多书里面的故事都是在讲 his own childhood 他自己的童年 or his children 或是跟他的孩子有关。
So I want to ask you, Anthony, and ask you, friends. So Jerry Spinelli writes about his own life, and actually, 事实上, we know a lot of authors talk about their own lives in their books. If you were an author, or maybe in the future when you become an author, do you think you will use your own life in your stories? Do you know what story you will use in your own life to make these stories?
OK， 老师的问题是这样子，你会发现到说，不管我们很多的月份都在介绍好书嘛，很多这些作者呢，他们是用他们自己的故事来写书的。那你可以试想一下哦，如果在以后你想要当一个作家的话，你会不会选择用自己的故事来当做书的内容呢？那你又会使用哪一些故事呢？记得要留言跟我们分享一下你的看法哦。
I really like to read them when you guys leave those for me. So I do read them. I really do read them. So please leave something and tell me. And so what about you, Anthony? Will you use your own life in a story?
Yeah, I will definitely use my life as the materials for writing books.
Do you have a story you would talk about?
Oh, not that I can think of, but but maybe
you'd have to
story.
Think more about it, right?
Yeah, right.
I think I would too. And Anthony knows me really well. He says probably I would tell a story like Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Yeah.
And that's kind of true because I tell these little life stories of mine in my classroom a lot. And I want them to be funny stories. So probably I'll try to make it kind of funny. And I agree. I would probably do something like that.
没错，老师呢就提到一个现在很受欢迎的作品，叫《我的训咖日记》。因为我跟那个 Chris 老师已经认识很久了，所以我知道说他说话的风格、讲故事的风格非常非常适合写那样的东西。他有非常非常多的素材，生活当中他还找到很多有趣的事情，所以我觉得老师很适合写。搞不好你就是未来下一个厉害的这个。
No. Imagine like the Chris Gorski horror novel or
horror novel.
Okay. All right, let's continue to our next sentence here. Tell us in the comments. I like to read these. All right. A lot of this, many of his books have won awards, including the Newbery Medal, one of the highest awards for children's literature.
好，接下来还告诉你咯。他说他这写这么多书很厉害，对不对？ Many of his books have won awards. Awards 就是奖项的意思。所以说这些书呢，他所写的书籍有赢得了很多的奖项。 including the Newbery Medal。好，这个呢 Newbery 是非常非常重要，儿童文学里面，它这个非常重要奖叫纽伯瑞文学奖。那如果你今天它只有一个，每一年它只有一个作品可以得到金奖，就是这个 Newbery Medal。当然还有其他的这个银奖啊等等，好几个这个银奖，那个叫做 Newbery Honor Books。好，有很多的不同说法。那他说 ，One of the highest awards for children's literature， 就是儿童文学里面非常非常至高荣誉的其中之一的一个奖项哦。
If I want to read a young adult novel or like a kid's book, and I see a Newbery Medal honor or an award winner, I'll read that book. Usually they're really good. They do a good job of picking books.
后来我还去查了一下，他得奖的那一部到底是什么？结果后来发现到是1991年的时候，他有一本书叫《疯狂的马吉》（Maniac Magee）。好，这一本书他得到了the Newbery Medal。那后来呢，在1998年的时候，有另外一部呢叫做《Ranger》。好 ，Ringer 的意思就是它的中文翻译叫小杀手。那部的话其实有一点点黑暗，但是我觉得应该，说不定你去找找看，说不定你会喜欢。
Let's continue to our final sentence here. His books show readers that they can be happy with who they are and make the world a better place.
好，最后呢，他就说了 ，His books show readers that， 好，他的书呢就让读者们知道 that they can be happy with who they are， 他们可以做自己，也能很开心。And make the world a better place， 能够让世界变成一个更美好的地方。
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we got vocab review. All right, friends, we're back with vocab review. Let's look at our first phrase here. Long to verb or long to be 怎么样
long to do something 或是 long to be 就是很渴望要去做什么事情。
This is very strong English. We normally don't say this only when you have very big feelings. Number 2, to make up one's mind to do something. So make up your mind to do whatever.
To make up your mind to do something 就是下定决心要做什么。
All right, number 3, an editor.An
editor 就是这个编辑 editor.
And O-R 发 E-R. Number 4, to be intended for somebody.
To be intended for somebody 就是为了什么人所设计而准备。好，这种东西的话，我们可以用 be intended for 后面接一个人。
Or to be intended to do something. Like our plan is to do this. Number 5, to turn out to be noun or adjective. Like, what's the result?
没错 turn out to be 什么什么东西或是形容词，就是指后来怎么样了。
Now, number 6 is hit. This is not the verb hit. It means a hit. It means it is popular.
没错，就是非常非常受欢迎的作品都可以叫 a hit.
Okay, let's look at number 7. This is a noun. It can also be a verb. An award.Award
就是指奖项的意思，好，它这个字可以当名词，好，在这边当名词，也可以当动词，指的是颁奖。
To award. And lastly, number 8, a medal.A
medal 就是指这个奖章，或者是指这个奖牌，都可以用 medal 这个字来表达。
All right, with that, we're all set. Don't forget to tell us what will you use your life.In your future books. What story will you tell us? And leave it for us. We really like to read them. I really do read them. So don't forget to leave them for us. For Enjoy English School, I'm Chris Gorski.
I'm Anthony.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.